Hi everyone, Leander here. Welcome back. This video is another VR to Natalia, who has released a string of fascinating topics, so do tune in. I will place the relevant video below here, but I suggest if you haven't viewed her videos, just go through her library. Her library is growing every day, and every topic she brings up is really interesting, thought-provoking, and you'll want to participate, I guarantee you. So I'm a little late with this particular VR. We are talking this time about journaling and whether we experience any resistance to delving deep or even consistency with journaling. I decided to watch her video twice because I just got so much out of it, and unfortunately, a very busy week swept me off my feet, and all of a sudden it's now Saturday. I don't know what happened, but anyway, better late than never. I'm going to do it anyway, and I suppose I could start with, this is such a big subject for me. Because for me, so many things are interconnected. It's not simply about choosing a journal and writing. I'm the sort of person who likes to monitor my own preferences and behaviors and habits and perceptions, right? Just to name a few. It's so fascinating when you look back on your journey. So it's not just about what I put pen to paper, it's everything, including the type of journal that I choose to use. And as Natalia was saying that she had a small Midori. I think, Natalia, you were talking about Patrick Fogarty, and he was saying that he uses a little Midori, and so Natalia bought herself one, and then she found all of a sudden she felt the need to use a larger size, so it gives you that feeling that she was ready to go deeper, further and wider, and that's very exciting. For me, I've been fairly consistent with the size of, sorry, I just went completely brain dead. The size of the journal, although one year I went big. But not only that, I think about at the beginning of the year, for even my daily diary, so it's just a day to a page for all my appointments, both professionally and personally, and any other bits and pieces I might want to add. For example, astrology highlights, which I always put in my diary, what's coming up for the month, and then as the month unfolds, I document my journey, my experience with that astrological weather pattern. And often I will just put my feelings if I have a happy day, or as I call it, a grrr day, Grrrr. I will document my challenges in that diary. So my journal is just when I really want to sit down and focus on one particular thing or a spread or an occurrence. But on a day-to-day basis, I'll still write any notes that I think is relevant in my diary. So it doesn't mean that every day I enter something, but more often than not I do. So just to show you, I'll just show you a blank page. It is very simple, and these are as cheap as chips. They're like $5, and every year at the beginning of the year I find myself paying close attention to the color that I choose. So I'll go in and, you know, there might be black and brown and patterned and bright and flowery and not. And at the beginning of this year, well, actually at the end of last year, I went through this gold stage, gold. Hadn't been anywhere near gold in a long time. Always, you know, wore my silver jewelry, and all of a sudden I find myself buying. Actually, I was gifted a beautiful gold vase, and at first I thought, oh, it's not that kind of crazy ass bright gold, more like a dull gold. But at first, I must admit, I thought, oh, gold, that's very gold. And then it just opened up something in me. I've got a gold mirror on my wall, yada, yada, yada. It goes on. And so, of course, I find myself, I'm such a child, gold pencil case to carry around. Black and white is my staple. It has been all my life. And what do I find? Black, white with gold, with cats on it. Cat lover here. The whole thing was just crazy. So it was meant for me. And every year, this particular brand whatever they are. DATs, this is DATS. Are they all DATs? That's an interesting, I'll have to check. What's this one? No, it's just the little local stores here. This one doesn't have a brand at all. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't even think about that. But they're always the same price. This one doesn't have a brand either. Go figure. No doubt straight out of China, but, you know, it's good. I love them. And so every year they have a different selection, and I will find myself scanning the whole collection in order to find a diary that has a cover that inspires me to use it. So if I'm not in the mood for black, I'm not going to buy a black diary because I won't open it. It sits there on my counter looking at me, and I feel enthused to jump in. So my point is, colour is a big thing for me, and you've heard me say that 1,000 times, and I'll probably say it 1,000 more. But I love the fact that I understand that that's a very important part of my life. So colour may be oatmeal. I'm not saying it's bright necessarily, but it's the colour that I feel really tuned into. And it doesn't leave me either. I don't find that, say, come July, August, I'm thinking, oh, why did I pick this thing? Never once. So that's interesting in itself. So just for a laugh, I'll show you. So this was 2010, another gold fad. 2013, I just wanted pure white, and I found it. It was perfect. I had brass, bronze, not brass, you fool, bronze. I got the bronze medal there. This is like a faux leather in a beautiful purple with butterflies, which is transformation, which is Scorpio, which I am. This one here I loved, absolutely loved, being the black and white chick. I found polka dots for 2017. 2018 was a tough one, and I could not find anything I liked. It was really bizarre. A lot of the styles in that for that particular year were very bright, and I didn't want bright, and I was in the thick of my tower journey. And so I ended up, I liked the white. That's what really attracted me to it, with this sort of, it's like a speckled background that reminds me of stone, like a slate. And that's what I liked about it. I thought, oh, okay, that reminds me of crystals. So even though it's dark, I quite like it. And it also reminded me of the polarities of life, you know, this clean white 2018 over this dark surface. So that was obviously a complex time, and that's exactly what happened. And 2016 was a nice bright aqua. So there you have it. So bizarre. But that, to me, I know you're probably thinking, well, what's your your daily diary got to do with anything? But for me, it's all a part of the journaling experience. I did write a few notes, so forgive me if I look down, but I know I could go on forever talking about journaling, so I'm going to have to be very, very careful. If necessary, I'll do a part 2. I also was going to talk about the fact that this year, how rather than choose one journal, like last year I had one journal, this year I chose to use a whole lot of little notebooks that I already had on my shelf and divide my journaling journey up. But I will save that for another video, because that's probably going to go too personal and a lot of people won't really care. But just to say, it's interesting again how things change over the years. So rather than just take out a whole bunch of journals, I actually pay particular attention to the fact that that's what really drew me towards journaling at the beginning of this year. I'm not going to put astrology with tarot spreads, with personal reflection, with habit tracker. I divided them all up. So if I want to take with me to the cafe just my new moon and full moon spreads, I just bring this little book with me rather than a larger journal. You know, I don't know why, I just roll with it. Now, one of the main topics of this video was resistance, and I had to think very carefully about that. I love journaling, and I remember, I think I was about 10 years old, and my aunt gave me a little diary, as it was, little thing, and you could lock it with the key. Does anyone remember them? They had the little strap. It was all very ornate, and I thought it was magnificent. You can imagine a Scorpio kid having this little book of secrets. I guess that was my first book of shadows. And I love the fact that my aunt said to me, write your thoughts and feelings in there. She didn't encourage me to write my daily occurrences in there. It was more about how you feel and your observations. And that was certainly fodder for a Scorpio kid. And so, you know, as I grew into my tarot world, it was nothing unusual to take up a journal, because Natalia was talking about resistance. And even when I was studying astrology, I could see people thinking, oh, really? Do I have to write all that stuff down? So wanting to learn astrology, but not necessarily wanting to delve deep into themselves, which of course, the first thing you do in astrology is learn your natal chart, right? Once you've got the basics down, you look into your own blueprint. So that was interesting observations for me, just to see how different people reacted differently in the classroom. Excuse me, it's the morning coffee. For me, I think being a Scorpio has a lot to do with it. That is a general statement, folks, but the Scorpio energy loves to delve. Scorpio is ruled by the Lord of the underworld, who says we're going down, 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 down. You think there's one basement? Oh, sweet innocent you. You know what I mean? It's like peeling the onion, and the more you peel, the more you find. And I expect to go through to the very end of my life. And all the while knowing that I'll never get to the bottom of it all. I don't think so, not as a Scorpio. I don't know that anyone really gets to the bottom of it. But the most important thing is, for me, I want to find myself on my deathbed going, Leander, you put in a mighty effort. You did your best. You spent the past, 40 years at least of your life delving deep into self-mastery and understanding and recognizing and acknowledging your foibles in order to take responsibility for them. Getting better and better at reacting in adverse situations and all that kind of thing. For me, that's what my journaling is about. So it's just delving deeper and deeper into self and gaining that understanding and loving every aspect of you, even the shitty bits, right? That's the whole idea behind it. We all just want to appear to be angelic for some reason in the Western culture, right? We're all perfect and groovy. And God forbid should anyone pull us up on our crap. You know, we want to turn around and that's what I feel is the most important thing, is to be really comfortable with that. And if someone turns around and says, well, I don't like you and I don't like what you're about, you can very, very honestly and authentically say, that's okay. You know, that's your perception of who I am. And then go journal about it and document your experience and how you felt in the coming days after that experience. That's often an interesting one. So for me, journaling is it's a real gift. I think it's a treat in so many ways. But that doesn't mean I don't resist. But I can only say I feel I go as deep as I can consciously go. I think my biggest downfall is consistency, where this really busy lifestyle that we all have that never sleeps, it's ongoing, it's this conveyor belt of overstimulation, then I can end up feeling fatigued by life, and I just think I just want to put everything down and sit. And the older I get, the closer I come to that, and which leads me to meditation, and I'll get to that. So I don't believe that I am avoiding my stuff, because I've been practicing this for a long time now. I could be kidding myself, but I don't think so. And I can honestly say what I believe really helped me on my journaling journey, say that carefully, two primary things: studying astrology in an in-depth fashion. So I studied two-year diplomas, more or less back to back, two different types of astrology, psychological and timeline. And prior to that, I studied for 3.5 years acting. So I completed a full diploma. And in both of those arenas, you are basically stripped back to bare bones. So was that easy studying acting in my 20s? Yes and no. I loved it. I thrived in certain areas, but boy, oh boy, again, you are not just stripped back to bare bones. You are under a spotlight on a stage in a theatre in front of a classroom. And a Russian teacher who would not put up with your shit. And she was, Zika. She's up there now, and I'd give anything to have a cup of coffee with her now. And you know, we tried to. She contacted me and said, I want to see you. And we made an arrangement and she had to cancel. And then we tried it again and then she passed away. So, folks, do that shit if it comes up. Don't leave it. Anyway, there were times where it was very tough because we were all confronted by our crap. And at the end of it, of course, I, along with all of my graduates, they're not my graduates, all of the graduates, we all said, whether we pursue acting or not, this is the best thing I've ever done for myself, you know, so far in my life. And I still feel this, it should be compulsory in schools. It's bloody amazing. So on from there, I studied astrology, and that's where they pull up your natal chart and then they show you everything that we can't see. Oh, that's even worse. And I loved it. I loved it and I continue to love it. So if you are interested in understanding more about psychological astrology, I highly recommend you watch Maha from Maha's Treasure Box, and she has a series on astrology, and I think she's going to do more this year, and I am so excited. She is a very, very good teacher, and out of the goodness of her heart, she has shared a number of videos for free, and it's very difficult to explain psychoastrology, and she does an amazing job. So I'm just putting it out there. She's absolutely wonderful. So if you're prepared to really go deep and take the time and write it out, be with yourself, stay there, feel the feelings. And as Natalia was saying, the pen is the icebreaker. And my theory is get it out of your body, get it out of your system. And so for me, it's a transferring energy where you bring it out, down your arm it goes, through your pen and onto the page, out of here, onto there. And that's never a bad thing. That's therapy. So there's so many wonderful, I was about to say outcomes, but that's not what I mean. But just so many wonderful aspects and to journaling, so many advantages to taking the time. So I began to say earlier that my only issue with me is inconsistency, where I can go on this, you know, full on, like a gym junkie. I will be absolutely dedicated on a daily, weekly basis. Whenever I feel that I need to do it, I would sit down, drop everything else and do it. But this year hasn't been quite the same. And I've been thinking a lot about that also. And I need to journal on that. And I'm trying to find a nice balance, because I don't believe in forcing myself to do it. If it just becomes another chore, it's 10 o'clock, I haven't journaled, oh no. And you're not going to do it properly, you're not going to do it earnestly. So I think it's just a matter of finding a balance. And if I don't feel the desire to journal, I think the idea is to make sure you substitute it with something else. And Natalia mentioned meditation and walking just as two. And for me, I would just add yoga to that. And the more I do it, and I have been much better this year, I actually took up study earlier this year with a teacher with Vedic meditation, so as I would stick with it, because I've been dabbling in meditation for many years, but I am not consistent at all. I'm pretty good with yoga. I do yoga every day, and I'll have my lulls, but all in all, I'm very consistent with that. But just saying, the meditation thing, you can't call anything a cure-all, but I think meditation is as close as you're going to get in this crazy busy world in which we have to operate. So I find for me that the meditation it's not journaling, it's not the same thing, but it's almost like, I was thinking about this and I find it hard to describe from my perspective, but it's as if the issues and occurrences that I need to journal about just diminish. They kind of just turn to incense smoke and drift away. So at the end of it, you feel quite clean and clear. So I feel that has influenced my journaling experience, but maybe the fact that I'm keeping up the meditation and just remaining consistent, I may not need to journal as much as I did. I'm not sure. And I might do a little follow-up video next year and let you know how things go. Because things are so busy at the end of the year now. We've got the festive season coming and all that stuff. So things can go a little haywire anyway. But that's the way I see it at this time. It's because I'm a Scorpio. Journaling for me, again, it's just, you know, it's like having your morning coffee. It's what you do. Couldn't live without it. But yeah, meditation has changed a lot for me. And I'm still feeling more and more and more inclined to go that way, because it is all about not just clearing, but that yearning that I have had to simplify my life. I'm going to do another video on altars as well, because I have my meditation altar and I have my tarot altar, and it's two different worlds. So I feel the more I clear in this arena, this little baby here, that's always buzzing. The more I attend to this area, I feel that the closer I get to I just don't have it in words. I know I'm getting closer to my true path. My path has changed so much over the last couple of years especially. So I feel like I'm drifting towards the path I'm meant to be on from here on in until further notice. And meditation is actually helping me get there. So journaling for me is more about delving within, but meditation is taking me forward in life. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say. Anyway. So I have to agree with Natalia. Walking is amazing. And if you walk first thing in the morning, I chose to do that during the winter months. And it was amazing, you know, when your hat and your scarf and all that sort of stuff. But talk about clarity. I feel by walking, especially if it's first thing in the morning, I feel it's clear connection, a clear line of communication between my soul and myself. It allows my soul to speak, and the ego hasn't really woken up yet, if you know what I mean. Very different to 2 hours later when you're sitting there at your desk and everything's, you know. So you might be filled with fabulous ideals and ideas and all that creative stuff. That's great, but that's not the soul speaking. So there's a certain gentleness and there's a certain clarity for me if I walk in the morning, and I'm starting to miss it. So I don't know whether you're a morning person or not, but I am. And what I find really challenging is I need to do everything that works for me the moment I wake up, which is meditation, yoga, and walking. But it's very hard to do them all at the same time. So if I'm to do each one back to back, I need to get up earlier again. Yeah. So I'm an early riser, but I need to be up by 5 to get this done. I really have to. But I was just going to say to anyone else who may want to start up a practice, I don't know if you've heard of morning pages, where the moment you wake up, you write, well, my friend did a course and they encourage 3 A4 pages. You just write. It's like automatic writing, blah, 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 blah. If you can't think of anything to write, you can say, I can't think of anything to write, whatever. I didn't dream last night, by the way. And once you start the ball rolling, off you go. So you don't need any tarot cards or oracle cards, but it's to be done the moment you open your eyes. Just write. But of course, you have to allow yourself that time. And I think that would be a wonderful journal to have, where you just do that every morning, even if you just decide to have a normal journal and you decide for yourself, all right, I'm going to do 3 pages. You know, that's just the way it is for me, and see how you go. And so it's not so much I'm going to sit down and journal, or I'm going to journal as a result of this particular spread. It's just, boom, this is my me time, the first thing. Yeah. I just choose to do 20 minutes of meditation the moment I open my eyes. But I still like the morning pages. So I think I have been so far off the main subject in this video. I do apologize, but I think I might upload it anyway. It's all, as Natalia says, it's all about sharing, and we always learn something from each other. So I hope you have been inspired in some really weird way out of all my verbal diarrhea. But yeah, just in conclusion, I love journaling. I believe it's extremely therapeutic, and it is, as I said, my main theme is get it out of your body, get it. And really it's in here, isn't it? In your head. But Have you studied Chinese medicine? It's all connected. So, you know, the thoughts can fuel emotions, and the emotions do sit within your body. So if you're having a rough time, definitely get it out on paper. Don't judge yourself. Just observe. And I'm just looking at my other notes. Is there anything else I forgot? No, I don't think so. Anyway, if I need to add anything, I will. But I just want to say thanks, Natalia. Yeah, I love watching your videos. It makes me think and consider and reconsider. And I think this is a really good time to be doing all these things, because we're preparing for a new year, and you'll be thinking about your new journals and how you want to set up your practice for next year, which is first and foremost on my mind at the moment, by the way. Really feeling enthused to look at how I'd like to operate next year as I move further into that simplification that I keep talking about, whilst maintaining my personal journey with journaling and tarot practice and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, I really am rambling now. I need to finish my coffee, so I'll wish you all very well. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, because I'm sure I've confused you all, I'm happy to answer them below. So take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.